Hey everyone, and welcome back to Storytime. In this video, we're going to be looking at a new subreddit called r/talesfromretail, where people who work in retail tell us stories about their bosses, employees, and other interesting customers they see daily. Customer picks something off a shelf and tries to get a refund for it. I work in a supermarket in an area that isn't exactly that nice. There's a lot of theft in the area, and because of our lack of staff, we struggle with it a bit and lose quite a bit of money. So it's Friday night, and we're understaffed. There are three main areas of the shop floor, and store policy requires us to have at least one person on each of them. The checkouts, the self-checkouts, and the customer service desk. But because we don't get that many people coming for customer service, we can usually get away with only having 2 people managing everything. Not this night though. We have a guy come to the service desk looking for a return. He has 2 or 3 phone charging cables, adding up to about £30 worth of merchandise. He's deaf, and I wasn't the one helping him, so I could only glance at what was happening. He claimed that he bought them earlier that day, at a time where neither I or my supervisor were in, and that he wanted to return them. No receipt. That's not that uncommon, and we have to give people the benefit of the doubt. However, we cannot give cash on returns without receipts, so all we can offer him is a gift card with store credit on it. Not good enough, apparently. He gets rather annoyed, then suddenly claims he has a receipt on his phone, which seems inconsistent, but he may have claimed that he bought the items online. I'm honestly not sure. My supervisor looks at it, and then realizes something inconsistent. Online receipts come with a reference number, and when she looked this one up, it came up with printer ink cartridges, not the charging cables he had on him. So, her response was the same. The receipt wasn't the right one, so she could only offer store credit. The guy doesn't like this, so he complains, and at that point, my supervisor decides to bring one of our managers into it. She comes along and does the same thing, explaining to him that without proof of purchase, we cannot give out any cash. He's insistent that he bought them. So her response is to check security footage to see if he did buy them or not. Now, this went over the course of an hour and a half, and while it went on, my supervisor had to leave and go into the warehouse part of the store, which left me on my own. Store policy dictates that the self-checkouts, under no circumstances, can be left alone at any time. Meaning I was pretty much stuck there, which wouldn't be so bad if I didn't have customers coming and demanding that I open a register for them. We get a lot of old people who either don't know how to use the self-scans or don't want to. Either way, I'm on my own and having to deal with them while the situation is handled, and they're not happy about the fact that I can't do 2 things at once. Still, I managed to pull through. It was about an hour and a half since the customer arrived, and my supervisor came back to tell them that the footage was being checked, so he'd need to wait a bit longer. He lost his patience, clearly not happy that he was waiting so long for this, to which my supervisor just said, "You should have taken the gift card." Point is, he's tired of waiting, so we take his details and he leaves. My manager and a security staff member come back, and as the title gave away, it turns out that he had just walked into the store, picked the items off the shelf, and gone to the desk to get a return. The guy was trying to get a refund for stuff he hadn't bought. The funniest part is that he could easily have swindled us. He could have walked out with the cables, he could have taken the gift card, but nope. He was adamant on having cash for something he stole. What grated me the most was, thanks to him forcing my supervisor to run around and check stuff, I was left on my own to do the work of 2 to 3 people. Still, kudos to my supervisor for realizing what was. Since it was late, some people would have just accepted the online receipt and given him cash. Still, I hope that this huge waste of time taught that guy a lesson. I seriously don't understand how someone can just walk into a store, take something off the shelf and expect to get money. Like, that's just blatant stealing, dude, come on. Complaining shoplifter. I run a store that sells a mix of pop culture and adult items, as well as a lot of cheesy gag stuff, if you know what I mean. Having the adult items tends to attract the idiots who think it's perfectly okay to take what they want, because why not? The last weekend, I was doing my required closing shift, and it was a relatively quiet night. This couple comes in, a young guy and his girlfriend. I've seen them in the store before, and as far as I'd noticed, they were pretty mellow and okay. Turns out, I was wrong. I went into the back room to get something, the door to which is in the middle of the adult section. Something I'd overheard from the couple twigged my spidey sense, so I stood at the door for a moment, listening. Sure enough, the guy was talking to the girl about slipping a toy up her sleeve. We'd never know. I sat down to watch the cameras, because yes, I have 2 cameras on that section alone. I watched her pick out her toy, the appropriately named wall banger, and they started wandering the store with it. I went back out to the floor and kept them in sight. At one point, some kids knocked over some items off a display, and they helped me clean it up. Then, they wandered back to the opposite corner of the store, and sure enough, the toy went up her sleeve. I went back to the front of the store, and as they were walking out the door, I stopped them. "Hey, where did you put that toy you picked out?" "I put it back?" "Actually, I've been watching you, and you haven't been back to the corner since you picked it off the wall. Can you show me where you left it, please?" She walked in, the boyfriend trailing behind us both. I give him credit for not bailing out and leaving her behind, at least. As she walked through the store, I could see her trying to discreetly slip the box out of her sleeve. She got it out just as she got to the other corner and handed me an opened box. The wall banger was still in the box, thankfully. "Great, thanks for that. By the way, you and your boyfriend are now banned from the store. I don't want to see you here again." "What? Why?" "I watched you put the toy up your sleeve. You left the store with it. I could have you arrested for shoplifting. Be glad I'm just banning you and your boyfriend. Now please leave." I followed them to the door, and as they walked out, I spoke one more time. "By the way, next time you decide to steal from a store, don't talk about it in the store." They both paled, then turned and walked away. The next morning, I'm opening, and the phone rings. I'm not fully awake, and I don't answer the phone with my name like I normally do. The voice on the other end asks for a manager, which wakes me up. I identify myself, and the girl launches into a complaint about the guy who accused her of putting a toy up her sleeve and banned her for the store for no reason the night before. "Yeah, that was me. I was the manager last night. You're still banned." 5 seconds of complete silence, then a soft click as she disconnected the call. Wait, how is she about to call the store after stealing something? I can just imagine some bank robbers robbing a bank and then the next day complaining that they didn't get enough and they demand more. Yes, I have an ID, but no, you can't see it. Okay, so I work at a dollar store. We're required to ID everyone for cigarettes, and by everyone, I mean my dad walks in there and I can't sell him cigarettes until he shows me his ID. Enter the old man. He just had that look on his face that told me this wasn't going to be easy. He does some light shopping before coming to my register to be checked out. He just throws his stuff on the counter with a huff. "Hi, how are you?" Ignores my greeting. "I need a pack of Super Kings." "Okay." I nod and turn to the cabinet to get his cigarettes. "May I see your ID?" "My birthday is July the 8th, 1924. "I'm sorry, but I can't sell cigarettes without seeing an ID. The old man, now a bit torn up. "I am not showing you my ID. I am a 94-year-old man, so I'm sure that I could buy them." He proceeds to pull his wallet out and hold it away from the counter, showing me he had an ID, but he refused to let me see the damn thing. "Well, I'm sorry, but I can't sell you cigarettes if you're not going to let me see your ID. I am required to ID anyone, regardless of age." "Is your manager here?" "No, but she'll be back tomorrow morning. You're welcome to come back then if you feel you need to speak with her." The old man throws a bag of items he was originally purchasing on the counter. "I'll be back tomorrow morning then. And me and the store manager are going to have a long talk about how disrespectful you and this company have been to a veteran." "Okay, have a good day." He then left without purchasing anything. That's fine. He can come back tomorrow just so the store manager can tell him the exact same thing I told him. "I'm sorry, but I'm not losing my job just because you got insulted because I asked for your ID." You'd think an old man that looks 94 years old, who's probably got wrinkly skin, is going to be complimented by asking for ID, like, "Oh, where are your Bluetooth cables?" I used to work at an electronics store, and one day a customer came asking me where the Bluetooth cables are stored. Confused, I asked the customer what they are planning to use it for. "That's not your concern." "Okay. Well, we have USB Bluetooth adapters which you can use with your computers, and aux adapters to turn your non-Bluetooth hi-fi into a Bluetooth one." "That's not a Bluetooth cable." Thinking that the customer was referring to an aux lead, I take him to the leads. "Where does it say that it's a Bluetooth cable?" "I want a Bluetooth cable. I want to speak to someone that knows what they're talking about. I am an audio engineer and have been for over 30 years, and I demand you show me your Bluetooth cables." "I'm sorry, sir, but we won't be able to help you on this occasion, as we don't sell Bluetooth cables." "I want to speak to your manager." My manager said that we don't sell Bluetooth cables, and the chap walked out. He should have said something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, it's in our wireless cable section. Just please follow me this way to aisle 9 3/4. Thank you." Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you did, then please leave a like on it as it helps out so much. If you're not already subscribed, then please do consider it so that you never miss out on another video. If you want to see some of our other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlists that are down below. But thank you again, and I will see you tomorrow.